Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Ronin's Den. I'm Steve. As always, I'm joined by my co host, Eric. And today we are covering the first class in the high fantasy atlas of Fabula Ultima, the Chanter. The Chanter is kind of your bard, your troubadour, your I'm going to kill you by singing to you or heal you by singing to you class. Eric, give me your thoughts.
Um, yeah, I mean that pretty much sums it up. If you're looking to make a bard type character or any character that functions with music, the chanter is a really good way to go. You could also flavor their music to be more speech based powers. Uh, that's typically the position of the orator, but those are more. I don't want to say those aren't really magical abilities in nature, whereas the chanter has actual like magical voice. So if you're looking for that magic based bard, this is where you want to go.
As always, our classes get a free benefit in the Chanter, like most magic classes in this game. Permanently increase your maximum mind points by 5. Kind of limited on what they get, but whatever. Their first skill is Magichant. Once your turn during a conflict scene, you may use an action and spend a variable amount of magic points to weave voice and music into a magical effect known as a verse. You may only sing one verse per turn, even if you have access to multiple actions. The full rules for verses can be found starting on the next page. When you first acquire this skill, you learn all 3 volumes, plus 1 key and 1 tone. Whenever you acquire the skill again, you may learn 1 key and 1 tone. Your choice. If you are taking the Chanter and you don't take Magichant, why did you take the Chanter? This is your bread and butter. This is how you get the magical voice or the magical singing. This is the bread and butter of the class. It's like taking Elementalist and not taking spells, or taking Priest and not taking spells. This is your bread and butter. Take this.
Yeah, this is your. It's the equivalent of spell casting for the chanter. We'll look at this more at the end of the video. We're going to go into this a little bit more in depth, but this is almost a more versatile form of spells. So yeah, we'll do a deep dive here on this one. The next skill that we have on deck is Resonance. After you affect one or more enemies with a verse, if you have an arcane weapon equipped, you may choose one of the options. Until the start of your next turn, your allies deal skill level extra damage to those enemies, or until the start of your next turn, you recover skill level and mind points every time one of those enemies suffers damage. If the same source deals damage to 2 or more of those enemies at the same time, you recover skill level in mind points for each damaged enemy. This is a fantastic synergy ability if you're running any of the spellcasting classes with Chanter. You throw a Magichant on them, you decide to take your turn at the very end of the next round, and you can re-up your mind points as the combat goes. Fantastic self-synergy.
Yeah, Resonance is just an icing on the cake ability, really. You get to do your verse, you get to get some mind points back. There's no negative here. If you can swing it with your build, I would recommend taking this. The third skill the Chanter gets is Siren's Song. You gain the ability to perform rituals of the ritualism discipline. Additionally, you may use ritualism to create hearing based illusions. Essentially, you can make people hear things that aren't really there with your rituals. And we've done a video on rituals. Go check that out. Rituals can be very, very powerful and very, very effective. Having access to rituals is never a bad thing. And for 1 skill point, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely something that if your build can swing it, add it in there, because we used to think rituals weren't the greatest thing in the world, and we started using them, and our opinion is completely flipped. Rituals correctly used, correctly timed, are insanely powerful.
Yeah, we very underestimated rituals, and we that was one thing we were pretty wrong about. We do get things wrong, and that was one of them.
Yep. Looking at sound barrier, after you sing a verse with medium or high volume, all physical damage you suffer until the start of your next turn is reduced by skill level, and this is applied before affinities. So, before, if you have a weakness to an element that would normally cause you to take double damage, this is going to mitigate your damage before that doubling takes effect. This is something that if you're making a melee style character, or even not, just any character in general is going to take damage, but especially one if you're building in, say, provoke, you can mitigate damage coming into yourself. If you're going, this is a specialty build item in my opinion, or if you're leaning heavy into Chanter, this is a good damage mitigator.
Yeah, being able to reduce damage done to you is just always going to be good. And being able to do it before they find your weakness or your vulnerabilities or anything like that, you can't beat it. I do agree that this is kind of, in my opinion, one of those things you're going to take after your build has been established. And the fact that it requires you to have sung a verse. So it's going to need that Magichant to work. Once again, though, why are you taking this class if you didn't take Magichant? But yeah, sound barrier, pretty good. Not flashy, not exciting, just good. And then the final skill they get is vibrato. After you sing a verse with low or medium volume, you may perform a free attack with a weapon you have equipped. Treat your high roll as 0 when calculating damage dealt by this weapon. Extra attacks are always good. There's just no two ways about it. Being able to do some more damage potentially, and it's only one skill point. This is a good skill.
I think this is a mandatory skill personally when it comes to the Chanter. If you're leaning heavy into Chanter, like Chanter's going to be like your main thing. Obviously, you want to do your Magichant, get the spells that you want from it from there, and then if you pepper in Resonance, Sound Barrier, and Vibrato, your character is going to be re-upping their magic points. They're going to be mitigating damage coming in, and they're going to be throwing out an extra damage attack anytime they use a song. Chanter can be, just when we talk about synergizing character classes, just synergizing your own character with Chanter can be busted.
Yeah, and imagine if you picked like another class of Weapon Master and you get bonus skill points to your weapon attacks and you get a free weapon attack, even though your high roll 0, that like 3 extra points to a big sword. There's so many synergies and so many things that could just be so good with this. I think vibrato, like you said, it's almost mandatory here, and it is an excellent synergy with other classes. All in all these skills on the Chanter, I don't think there's a one of them that is bad.
No. Chanter is an amazing class. It is one that's going to make you have to sit down and think a little bit more than your standard elementalist or entropist when you're adding this to your build. And that's because of what we're going to look at next, which are the buildings of the verses. But Chanter is fantastic.
Speaking of those verses, Eric, let's dig right into them. If you go to the next page in your books, the verses work as such. Singing a verse. When you sing a verse, you can combine a volume, a key, and a tone you learned. These 3 aspects determine the verse's MP costs, their targets, and their effect. The volume determines the sound intensity of your verse and the creatures that you can reach with it. Each tone determines the general effects of your verse. Each key has an associated damage type, status effect, attribute, and recovery. These modify the effects determined by the tone of your verse. Example, you might combine a low volume with a key of flame and a haunting tone to inflict shaken on a single creature for 10 mind points. or you could combine a medium volume with a key of iron and energetic tone to allow your allies to make additional progress on clocks when using willpower.
Yeah. Um, you have to. This is almost like ritual building, except that unlike a ritual, you're going to use these in combat, and some of them will cause direct damage. Looking at the volume, that's going to start setting MP costs. Low volume allows you to target yourself or one other creature who can hear you. Medium, every ally who can hear you. And high, every enemy that can hear you. Which, depending on what the combat looks like, is going to be better than an elementalist, because the maximum the elementalists can attack with their spells is 3. That's the cop out top part for an elemental on targeting. Same thing with entropists and spiritists and all the characters from the core rulebook. 3 is the max. This allows you, if you have 5 people on your team or 4 people on your team, and you got 4 enemies or 5 enemies, you can hit all 5 of them at once.
Yeah, being able to just like power chord and every ally hears it, that's a lot, and only, or really good, and only for 20 MP or 30 MP. That's pretty good compared to the elementalists or the priests or any of those classes, or spiritists.
Well, it's actually the same as the elementalist, because it's target times 3, or target times 10 times target, I believe, is for the multi-target spells, and it tops out at 3, so it's 30 MP to hit 3 targets. This is 30 MP to hit 3 plus targets.
Fair enough. Let's take a look at some of the different keys that you can choose. I'm just going to do the first 2 because they're quite different. Flame, your damage type that you can inflict is fire. The status effect that you can affect is shaken. The attribute that you can affect with flame is might. And the recovery is hit points. Contrast that to frost, which the type of damage is ice. Status effect is weaken. Attribute uses your willpower and recovers your mind points. So, for instance, you want to affect one ally, one creature, so that would be a low volume, 10 MP. You would pick Frost to get them back some mind points, and then you would go into the next section, which is Tone.
Tone, there's a lot of tones. There's calm, energetic, frantic, haunting, lively, menacing, solemn. And each one of these is going to give you another part of your effect. So calm. Each target recovers the key recovery. So again, if we were doing frost, the recovery is mind points equal to 10 plus twice your current willpower die size. This amount increases by 10 if you are level 20 or higher, or by 20 if you are level 40 or higher. If this tone causes MP recovery, it has no effect on the character who sings it. So I can sing a song to give Celine some MP back so she can cast more healing spells. But I'm not going to recover MP because of the cost of the song, which it makes sense. It definitely... that does make sense. And
it's the fact that you are able to sing and give mind points back to another character who's probably low on them or has used them. This can be extremely effective in a fight where someone is low on mind points. You don't want to waste their turn by having them take inventory points. Instead, you use your verse to give them mind points, and then you combine that with vibrato, where you make an attack. The synergies with this class are just great. Yeah. And honestly, just being able to have that little bit of versatility, you can be an off healer, you can be an off support, you can still do some damage. This class is just an all-around jack of all trades, kind of.
Yeah. like I said earlier, like you said earlier, there's really no bad um, choices when you're going with the Chanter. All around, it's
Yeah.
just a fantastic class, especially with synergizing within itself.
So my final thoughts on the Chanter, as we already said, just an all-around good class. I don't think it does anything amazingly, but it does nothing bad. It just does everything good. And I think when you have a class like that, that you can mix with Weapon Master, you can mix with Sharpshooter, you can mix with maybe Guardian to get some more defense to help with your uh, Sonic Shield. This class is just good for synergies. It's good for synergizing with itself. It's good for helping out in those little niche areas that you need. You can't go wrong taking the Chanter. Definitely worth looking at if you're going to look for another class to add to your build.
Yeah, my final thoughts on this is if you're going for a support character, you should look at Chanter. It should be at the top of the classes that you're going to take a look at because of the self synergies and all the things that those verses and magic chants are capable of doing. Healing, adding status effects, removing status effects, filling clocks. This is the support character backbone, in my opinion, as far as the new classes go with these expansion books. And that's our look at the Chanter, folks. As always, we're going to be releasing these videos in the off weeks that we're not playing Capiterra. We're back on schedule with Capiterra on our every other Saturday. Those get posted the following Sunday. We're also running a game of 2nd edition Advanced Dungeons & Dragons with the Night Below box set, which is a ton of fun. And we just started a new series with Legends of Kralis doing these styles of videos for that game. And we have the extra special added treat of having the author of that game join us while we go through the different parts and mechanics of it so they can answer any of our questions or add rules clarifications right there on the spot. So until next time, if you can give us a smash on the like and subscribe button, it does help us out a ton getting these videos in front of everybody that wants to see them. And we will catch you on the next video where we look at the Commander class, which is pretty interesting. Anyway, take care. See you next time.